Hello, and welcome to another SETI Live. I'm your host, Beth Johnson, Communications Specialist here at the SETI Institute. Joining us today are two master students from the New College of Florida Applied Data Science program. Please welcome Sarah Hammond and Dmitry Angelov. With them is their professor and the director of the program, Dr. Burchin Bolskaya. These students and others in the program have joined the worldwide effort in analyzing data collected from cameras watching the night skies. Known as the CAMS project, Cameras for Allsky Meteor Surveillance. This is a NASA-sponsored initiative with the SETI Institute and under the leadership of my mentor, Dr. Peter Yenniskins. So thank you for joining us, everyone, and welcome. And welcome to our viewers from watching around the world. Please let us know where you are watching from. All right, so welcome Sarah, Dmitry, and Burchin. Thank you for joining us today. I am really excited to talk to you. This is the project that I worked on as an intern, and you make what I did look really difficult. Because when you wrote about this, Burchin, and we have the article on our website, you talked about how it used to have to be that you had to go up and you had to collect the data physically and take it back and annualize it manually. And I did that. So that's, this is really exciting to watch this program sort of bloom from, is that a meteor? Is that a meteor? That's a meteor? Is that it? No. Okay. That's a plane. No, that's a meteor. To plug it in and it just goes meteor, 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 no meteor. And it just does it for you. It's astounding. Machine learning is amazing. And you guys are doing this as grad students. This is your master's work.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, Burchin, how did you become involved in the CAMS project?
Yeah, thank you, Beth. And first of all, thank you all for organizing the opportunity here. So CAMS project was utterly amazing. I mean, ever since we started it, we had so much fun with it. And I'm so grateful to the colleague of mine from NVIDIA, Miss Sita Ganju. She's very heavily involved with Frontier Development Lab and SETI Institute and all these projects that are going on. Obviously, you guys are involved in, and it was through this connection that everything got started. It happened when I was putting together and collecting some ideas for the next semester practical data science course projects, talking to different organizations, different contacts. And, this CAMS idea just came out to be one of the prominent project topics that I could offer to our students, master students at New College. And it just clicked right away. I mean, sometime around early last summer, when we put together these projects and then, we showed it to our students, there was a huge interest in this particular project from almost half of the class signed up for this project. So it was amazing. And that's how it all got started.
So what need does this practical data science course fill?
Well, that's a great question. So, I mean, in our master's program, so we try to emphasize both the theory, knowledge, as well as practical application side of things. So, I mean, we do a lot of courses, obviously, that cover the theoretical aspects of the program, but we also want our students to have lots of hands-on experience during the program before they graduate and before they practice data science in the world out there. So this particular project is part of this course that we call Practical Data Science. And our students take this course after they take 8 other courses of foundational knowledge. And this course is entirely about putting all the knowledge to practical use. So they start with a problem, a challenging problem, and a large data set associated with that. And then so they go through this entire process of analyzing that data, analyzing that problem and the research question, and coming up with models, solutions, and recommendations, and presenting them to our partnering organizations. So it fills this huge need, I think, in a program like this that is all about applying data science.
And how many students are in the cohort this year?
So this cohort who worked on this and other projects, there are 16 of them, 16 students. So they worked on, altogether, we had 4 projects, right? 4 projects, 5 teams last fall semester. Yeah, and the process that we went through was also, I think it's worth mentioning because, as the program director and also the instructor for this course, I put together all these topics and ideas from organizations and then presented to our students. And then they form teams, they discuss amongst themselves, and make some selection, whichever idea is most suitable for their interests and further career goals. They choose a project topic and then take it from there. So 16 students forming up 5 teams last semester, and 2 of those teams were actually working in this project. Altogether, 7 students.
Okay, I want to talk more about the teams, but first I want to welcome some people who are watching from seemingly everywhere. So let's see, we have Burnaby, British Columbia, Carrollton, Ohio, Houston, Montana, the Interlake, Manitoba, Germany, Cleveland, Manassas, Virginia, Rome, New York, Denmark, Campinas, Brazil, Boulder, New Hampshire, Australia, Tokyo, Mexico, somewhere near the Great Lakes, Michigan, and Sweden. And also a quick shout out to Freddie for the Facebook stars, which does bring me to one quick tiny little thing. The SETI Institute is a 501c3 nonprofit, and the SETI Lives, our SETI Live program, is an outreach project of the SETI Institute. If you want to support this outreach program, your Facebook stars, your YouTube super chats, and your Twitch bits all help us continue bringing you all of these amazing science stories. Now, back to you guys. You were on different teams, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So one of the things, and this is just a silly question, I want to get it out of the way really quickly. How did you come up with your team names? Sarah, yours was Team Radiant, and Dimitri, yours was Team Brilliant. And I just want to know where these came from.
Pokemon. I think the new Pokemon games, Brilliant Diamond and Radiant Pearl, were coming out in like a couple of months. And in the game, there's this team called Team Galactic, who are like the bad guy team. And it's like, hey, Team Galactic, we're dealing with like meteors and stuff with space. It sounds like a fun idea. So I believe we picked out Brilliant, and our team picked out Radiant, and yeah, the rest is history.
That's news to me. I thought we picked it out because of like radiant of a meteor shower. So
I think it's more it was because of Pokemon.
No, I think that's what it was, but
okay.
No one told me. That's cute.
It was one of my teammates and my team, Amanda. She was the one that suggested it, and then I was instantly, we need to get Brilliant Diamond. Diamond's the coolest one. So
that's cute.
Yeah, I guess that's how it worked out. Nice idea.
But I do like how Radiant kind of fell into that, which is why I wanted to know what the origin was. Because to me, I thought Team Radiant. Okay, that makes sense. They're talking about the radiance of the meteors.
Yeah.
And then I saw Brilliant and went, okay, now I'm lost. And I didn't even put together the Pokemon thing. I should have. My kid is very into Pokemon. So that is fantastic. Thank you. All right. For you guys, what were some challenges in developing the pipelines that you both put together for this project?
I guess first getting used to working with the new college server and getting used to like handling a GPU for running large machine learning code. We'd always run into problems where it's like, oh, the GPU is all used up, and we have to like figure out what the problem was going on with that. So I guess, at least for me personally, trying to like figure out how to use like a machine learning model with like a GPU to actually make it run. It was a hurdle to get over to, but once I figured it out, it was like, oh, wow, this is easy.
I suppose our team had a slightly different kind of approach than that, because the previous model implemented by SETI and the Frontier Development Lab was a very good, very state-of-the-art model. So finding ways that we could improve on that, which was the goal of the project, ended up being quite difficult at first, because we had to move on just from modeling approaches, finding, okay, this is a state-of-the-art model, what can we implement, but ways to improve the model itself and the structure of the data in order to find a way to kind of better work with what we were given.
Mm-hmm.
Which brings me to my next question. So how do the pipelines differ, and how did you make them work? How do they work?
Yeah. Yeah, Dimitri, do you want to start with that?
So when we were given a very well-performing, like Sarah mentioned, high-end model, an LSTM model, which stands for long short-term memory, and it was already performing pretty well. I think it was above like 90% accuracy, close to like 91, 92. So just to improve from that already seemed like a really big challenge. So at least my approach was just trying many other different types of models that were similar to LSTMs, but had their own like either like better advantages or disadvantages. And one of them that turned out to work really great was GRU model, gated recurrent unit models, which are very similar to LSTMs, but are usually run much faster. And after seeing improvements from that, I was like, oh, how else can I improve that? And then just doing more additional research and finding, oh, wait, CNN, which stands for convolutional neural networks, that's the type of model that works best with images. But if you combine it with an LSTM or a GRU model, it actually improves its accuracy and improves its like runtime too. It was like a crazy difference. I remember before with the baseline LSTM model, it would take about maybe 20, 30 minutes to run through the entire model if you're just using like one instance or one length. And then with the CNN GRU, which was our final model that we decided to use, it only took like 2 minutes. Yeah. Just like a huge difference in improving efficiency. And it just kept on moving on from there, just trying to find like different ways to increase trial and error. Whatever doesn't work here, we learn from it, and then be like trying to improve like a different aspect of our code here. So it just it was a very gradual buildup. It didn't just like happen overnight.
Yeah, and our team took a very different approach than that. So we altered the pipeline quite radically, because the way it was previously implemented so each meteor is obviously observed by typically more than one camera, because we have all these cameras for the CAMS project pointed at the sky, and in the observations, the meteors are kind of combined. So they move from one meteor in the data will move straight into another meteor. They're all kind of combined. And so an LSTM model, which is the one that was previously implemented, works under the assumption that all of the observations are sequential, so temporally consistent. The previous observation happens, before the next one. And so because they were combining multiple cameras, which are in parallel kind of watching these meteors, the observations were no longer kind of temporally consistent, because you would have the end of one camera and then it would move next to the beginning of a different camera. And so what we did was we used this kind of LSTM model, but we changed the segmentation procedure. So we ended up implementing a parallel hybrid model that basically processed each of the different cameras individually, which was able to improve that accuracy by something like 5%, 6%. Yeah, which was a huge leap from an already well-performing model.
That's pretty amazing. So yeah, and for those of you who aren't entirely familiar with what the CAMS systems look like, it's basically a sort of a blossom of nighttime video cameras. They were off the shelf for most of what we worked on. And so the ones here in California have like 24 cameras in sort of a blossom configuration, and they're looking at the entire night sky. So if you imagine you have a meteor that comes in this way, right? And it goes over several different cameras. So that's what she's talking about, where it's not temporally matching up, because that meteor moves across the cameras. Yeah. So that's really a fascinating way to solve that problem. Congratulations on that. So for each of you, what was the most interesting information that you learned, either about meteors or about machine learning during this process?
Yeah, for me, I come from a social science background, so I was really unfamiliar at first with Meteors in general, the CAMS project. And so it was a really fun exercise in getting the domain knowledge of what you guys do in order to be able to solve this problem. And then I kind of lean, I'm really good at the theoreticals of models, but I was kind of surprised to realize that the solution here wouldn't be finding, what model is best for the data, but instead kind of altering the data and building around that. So it was a two-factor approach. And so it was really kind of outside the box thinking to work with what you have and leverage the information that you have, rather than kind of going with those kind of traditional, you try this first and then this approach.
Mm-hmm. I would say for myself, I really just loved seeing how the data was formatted, how it was given, just like realizing, well, this, if I go into a future career and this is what I'm actually be handling and dealing with, and just seeing how like an actual like built together machine learning model like runs and operates with real data. Usually when we have like homeworks or assignments, we either have to build like our own models or already given like kind of like a cleaned up model to work with. So just really, like stretching and messing out with like a model, seeing how you can implement it in different ways, or testing out new models and then comparing them. One other big things I loved learning from this project was things such as precision and recall, and how things like recall, which is where you want to determine, where you want to label meteors as true that's more important than labeling meteors as non-meteors, and seeing why that is more important for this project and why it's like even more important than like precision was really eye-opening. And it's not just, oh, here's the accuracies, here's our results. It's like you have to dig deeper into that, realize why this is more accurate, how you can improve from like the previous model that you were working on, and new directions you can take from there. Just like once you're done with one thing, there's like 1,000 different paths that open up next, and it's like, oh, I need to do this and then I need to do that. So it's really fun just like exploring that road where your like project can go in any different direction you want, as long as like you keep on working on it.
Okay. Yeah, just to follow up on that, I think a lot of things that we do in data science are very domain and context related. So like as Sarah mentioned, learning about meteors and all the data that is collected and what those numbers really mean. You have to sort of that was a learning process for me as well. As an instructor for the course, the domain related to space and all the parameters and data that is collected. And then, like Dimitri is saying, it's an entire exploration process. Once you get the hang of the some of the domain knowledge, and you need to be able to combine it with data science background, obviously, all these different models. And like Dimitri was saying, in a lot of different contexts, the measures that you use, the model parameters that you set are pretty much domain related, and it depends on the context. So learning all about that is I think, was one of the great additions in this project.
I agree.
Fantastic. All right, I'm going to give a couple quick more shout outs. And I also want to say that if our audience watching at home or at work has questions for our panel, for Sarah or Dimitri or Berchan, please feel free to post those, and we'll have moderators sending those to me so I can go through them. All right, quickly, let's see. We have people watching from Atlanta, Georgia, East Tennessee, Plainfield, Illinois, Harstad in the north of Norway. Wow. Edmonton, Alberta. And also some thank yous. So thank you to Johan for stars, and thank you to John for stars, and for more stars, and for more stars. So thank you so much, John, for your generosity. Okay, going back to some of these questions here. Did your teams work together or separately at all?
Yeah, so we did work together. So my team, I kind of headed my team. And so I was kind of in charge of figuring out like how we were going to work with the pipeline and things like that. And I remember we were achieving moderate success with the parallel models. They were doing well, but they were taking forever to train because there's a lot of data in the training and prediction procedure, how long that takes. It's really important when you're implementing models live. And so Dimitri and I remember chatted at one point because the hybrid model that they were using ran exponentially faster than what we were doing. And so I remember we chatted, and then we were like, what would happen if we combine the solutions? Would we be able to leverage the kind of higher accuracy that the parallel solution was getting with the still good, but incredibly fast solution that they were getting, and see if that would be more useful potentially for production? And it did work. And so our final solution really was a combination of the efforts from both teams.
Yeah, I thought that was like a great approach that we went with, just kind of like combining our ideas and being like, oh, wow, the end result was better than like what either one of us could have done alone. So that was like a great breakthrough, I believe.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm really happy to hear that, because as you were both talking, I kept thinking, did you combine these two things?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Overall, what were the results of the process? What were the results of the program? What did you guys come out with at the end?
Yeah, so our final solution, I know this is a little technical. I don't know if anyone in the audience is curious and they might want to Google it, but we used a hybrid CNN, so convolutional neural net, and bidirectional LSTM, long short-term memory model to eventually do the prediction, and it was parallel. So we had basically a separate models that kind of talk to each other. They share weights. And so that where there would be one model per input camera. And so that would kind of leverage having multiple cameras viewing the same observation. So you could basically take in information from these different cameras and not kind of confuse the model itself. And that kind of approach led to it ended up, I think it's a 97% accuracy was what we ended up with, which was a 5.5, 6% increase in accuracy. And what was even more important because what was more important is the recall, because as guided from the Frontier Development Lab, it's more important for you guys, the researchers, to know if an observation is actually like a meteor is being seen. So every single meteor they want to be classified. They don't want to miss meteors. So they'd rather have a meteor caught than not. And I think we had about a 2% jump in that recall there. And it was significantly faster than the previous implementation. So these are all good things.
Congratulations. That's great.
And the nice thing about this whole pipeline is that, at the end of this, the course, everything that the students develop are actually deliverables to our partner organizations. So we share all the code with them, along with a lot of explanations and, on the methodology and report and everything. So I think everybody benefits from this significantly.
Fabulous. Okay, really quickly, thank you to John for more stars. Wow. And also thank you to Oscar for stars. I do have some audience questions coming in, so I'm going to kind of switch to those for just a moment. What kind of computers do you guys have to use in order to run your code? We're talking PCs on steroids or mainframes?
I guess literally any type of computer can probably run it as long as it can connect to the new college server. That was what was mostly used. I think there was is there 4 or 5 GPUs, I believe?
4 GPUs.
So we had to use remote GPUs. They are chunky models.
Yeah.
You could run it.
Oh, sorry.
These things on a CPU as well, but it's just going to take forever to finish. That's why we need to. Yeah.
I was about to mention, sometimes when I couldn't connect to the GPU, I try to run it on my CPU, and oh boy, over an hour or something just to run one model once. I was like, oh, geez, no, I need to connect to the server.
So, Burchin, what qualities and characteristics of your students really stood out to you to make them the outstanding data scientists they clearly are becoming?
Curiosity, I would say. Being curious, being eager to learn new things, because this is obviously a new domain for I think all of you. I mean, unless you have some astronomy or physics background, specifically in this area, it's all about learning new things and not being afraid of exploring some uncharted territory here. Applying whatever you have learned up until that point in the program. In terms of all the courses you have taken, the programming skills and everything, and then just get your hands dirty. Don't not be afraid to get dirty with the data and then do stuff. Yeah.
Okay. So there you go, guys. Curiosity is really important. All right. So okay. I have a few last questions here. We're getting close to our half an hour. So I want to if you could go back and do anything differently about how you worked this all out, is there anything either of you would change about your process?
I mean, certainly, I think I would want to expand upon our solution. So something that you can do with models is you can build them in a way that they can be parallelized to run on multiple computers at once, and that increases the the speed that they run at. And so we have a really good solution, and of course we'd like to test it more, but I wanted it to be faster. So that's something we had wanted to try and expand upon it.
Yeah, I guess if I could go back in time and telepaths me, probably do more research on hybrid models. They're a big up and coming field, and it's already been discussed many times in the past. But stuff we mentioned, like CNN, LSTM models, they're getting more well known. But just doing more research, having more background on hybridization, maybe doing some more improvements in there, because I felt like we were just scratching the surface, and if we had more time, there's so much more we could have done. So yeah, just like what Sarah was mentioning, if we had more time, definitely improve performance, boost up the accuracy, recall, just go back in time and be here, do all this stuff so you can save yourself 2 months of work.
Fair enough. What's next for each of you?
Right now, we're doing something called a practicum, where we work for a company. And right now, I'm working for Hanover Insurance. So honestly, I like insurance. I love working in the insurance field. I have an economics undergrad. So anything insurance or financial related, I'm pretty happy with. So I'm hoping to move out and, get involved in some financial institutes. That would definitely be something preferable.
Oh, and then I'm a social scientist at heart, so I plan on pursuing my PhD in psychology, and hopefully be able to apply data science and big data to studying human behavior. And I'm currently working as a research data scientist for the practicum. So.
Okay, well, good luck to both of you.
Thank
Burchin,
you.
what's next for the program?
Well, this is actually fascinating. I just wanted to comment on what Dimitri and Sarah said, because doing a project like this and then pursuing some career in insurance and psychology, that's amazing, because of the diversity of or the flexibility that comes with being a data scientist. All the tools and knowledge that you have, you can apply to different domains. For the program, we're going to keep doing what we know that it works really great, like this practical data science course. I'm still going to teach that course next year, and then year after year. So I will start putting together some ideas as early as maybe next month. The new project topics, get in touch with organizations, or actually whoever is interested, whoever is listening to this, if you want to be part of this, just reach out and we can get you on board, with your challenging project idea, a big data set or whatever is on your agenda these days. And, we can talk about it. And so I'm looking forward to the next round of projects that we're going to be offering coming up next fall. But starting the process around this time, actually. Yeah, so looking forward to it.
Okay, so if you have a company who has a machine learning need, contact Burchin. And also, Burchin, how do people apply for the master's program itself?
Well, it's a graduate program that you can find on our website, along with all the requirements. If you are in your senior year in the undergraduate program, or if you have graduated at some point in the past with a bachelor's degree, you're welcome to check it out and check out our curriculum and apply the program with all the credentials that you have, your transcript, reference letters, and everything like that. And we are currently actively, of course, processing applications for the next fall semester. You're welcome to get in touch for more information if you like.
All right. Well, you guys heard that. So if you're interested in a master's program in beautiful Florida, right there behind Burchin,
that's right.
That is their campus.
Our campus. Yep. Right by the water.
Check out New College of Florida's Applied Data Science program. And if you already have all of your graduate degrees and you are looking for another program, the Frontier Development Lab is actually in their application process. Applications will close on April 3rd. And if you're interested in doing the prior work that these guys were improving on, we have a whole bunch of new projects happening over at FDL, and we're looking for postdocs, grad students to come help with those and work on the machine learning on all of those science projects. So we'll have the link in our comments as to where you can go to check out both of these programs. So go check them out. And thank you to Sarah, Dimitri, and Burchin for being here. This has been a fascinating conversation, and I've really enjoyed it. And thank you for all of the incredible work that you have done on a project that is near and dear to my heart. So I no longer have to go and identify meteors by hand.
Well, thank you so much for giving this opportunity. And we certainly look forward to more projects with FDL. You guys have a fascinating collection of topics, and we were discussing that today actually with some colleagues. And we're looking forward to the next project with SETI and FDL.
All right. Well, thank you again for joining us. And once again, a reminder to everybody, we are a 501c3. Thank you for all of the Facebook stars today. You can also donate on YouTube as super chats and on Twitch with bits and subscriptions. So thank you again for all of the support and your questions and letting us know where you're watching from. This has been fantastic, and I'm really glad to have everybody here. Next week, we'll be back with another SETI Live, and our SETI Air director, Bettina, will be interviewing our latest addition to the SETI Air program, which is our artist in residence program. And his name is Mike Vondernamer. So we've got some PR about that out there. So if you want to go take a look and see what he's working on, now is a good time for that. And we'll be back next week with that interview as well. So everybody have a great rest of the week and the weekend. And once again, to our guests, thank you so much for joining us. Bye, everyone.
Have